That was good, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting episodes for both of them.
Mm,
Episode 5 of Star
Yeah.
Wars and this second episode of Miss Marvel.
yeah. That's good. Which one should we start off with? Uh, uh, Star Wars?
Yeah, we'll start with Star Wars.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
very interesting flashback, I think.
oh yeah, it was a
to
flashback, right?
the
Yeah.
duel between well, it
Mm,
was like a practice, really, a
yeah,
practice training session for Anakin.
mm.
with-
They never had that scene in the other original movies, right?
No,
No, no.
obviously this is new.
It was added in. Okay. Well, yeah, that's pretty cool. And that's current Christian, Hans Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although you can tell it is him.
He looks older now, yeah.
He looks.
I wonder if they de-age him though.
Oh, they may have actually made it even
Yeah,
younger because he's currently older, obviously. Oh,
I
maybe
think they might have.
touched him up a little bit, but made him a bit younger.
Because they still had to make him young enough
Yeah.
to be that Padawan, but still, but a little bit older than maybe
Have a look at this picture, right? So
Yeah.
he this is what he currently I guess,
Oh,
looks like. That's what he looks like. But the question is, was he de-aged?
yeah.
I don't know if he was, or maybe it was just makeup. I don't know.
Yeah. It's hard to say sometimes.
Does it say? No, I don't. No, they probably haven't revealed whether it was de-aged or not.
They had to make him, look younger than what he looked like.
I mean, he's 20 years older now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very likely that CGI was used to
Maybe
de-age.
CGI. Yeah. I mean, I suppose you could do that either CGI or just,
Oh, I was on mute.
makeup.
Oh,
It's another way to do it, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we
think they
just-
tried to de-age him, but they probably didn't too well because as you could tell, that is not Anakin Skywalker as a knight yet. So not episode 3.
mhm.
And
probably
also,
2, yeah.
not episode 2 either.
Between 2 and 3, yeah.
Yeah, it would have.
No, it's probably between 1
Or
and
between
2.
1 and 2, maybe. Yeah.
Because if you look at the hand, it's still there.
Mm-mm.
He hasn't lost the hand yet.
No.
Oh, yeah, that's what. That's interesting.
Because as we know in the end of episode 2, he had
lost-
it cut off
Mhm.
by Dooku.
Oh, Count Dooku cut it off. Yeah. He lost the first battle with Count Dooku.
Yeah, but I guess it didn't work out too well. But interestingly, if you look at how they shot the show with Darth Vader, it sort of shows the progression of Darth Vader as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it also shows how much he learns from the lessons with Obi Wan.
Mm.
That's right.
Like fighting without a lightsaber at the end. Like, what? He definitely learned that from Obi Wan.
Yeah. I mean, he's learned something from Obi Wan, but yeah, I suppose he was still sort of outsmarted at the end because Obi Wan fled, with the others. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what Obi Wan said. It's like his
His need for victory.
need for victory clouds his judgment. Yeah.
Yeah. That he can't see the trap that was sort of laid for him. Although he sensed in the end that, it was the youngling sort of back for revenge, but still, yeah.
Well, apparently he knew about that.
But he still let Obi-Wan get away. But he still sort of in a way got distracted, but allowed himself to be distracted by that.
But Reva versus Vader.
Yeah.
What the heck? That was like
Yeah,
that was a no contest.
Yeah. I mean, she never really, finished her training really as a Jedi. So
Still a youngling, technically.
Yeah, she was still a youngling. And
Okay.
I guess the Inquisitors aren't really too well trained, so they go off what they already know
yeah.
of
No,
the
the
Force.
Inquisitors, yeah. The Inquisitors would not have had the kind of rigorous training that a Jedi would have.
Yeah,
Um,
especially being affected by a lot of force powers. Like,
Yeah.
really?
Mm.
In a lot of other battles of like Jedi, they could usually shield themselves from other force powers, but of course the Inquisitors
No.
had no defense to that. Probably because they weren't trained enough.
Mm.
Mm.
No, a Jedi versus Jedi would be a different kind of duel altogether.
I mean,
Yep.
did she die though?
No.
Not
This is
really.
the thing. She didn't look like she died. Like she was injured, but like
She
I heard
got
that
up.
was
She
shown.
got up and
got up.
heard the message from Bail Organa.
Yeah.
So from what it seems to be, it's like
uh,
he is probably going to try to find Luke Skywalker,
Mm.
how come they
who is
didn't,
still a kid.
how come they didn't
Yeah.
definitively kill her? How come they didn't?
Well, he probably thought he did, but see, that's the thing. How did she manage to survive the stab? Because I guess Darth Vader probably, thought he killed her already. Just
Yeah,
by
but then
stabbing
Well,
her.
probably not. He's
Yeah.
probably still using her as a pawn.
She like
He's probably
He's that.
using Reva's need for revenge.
yeah.
Yeah, revenge. Revenge does
He's,
wonders
yeah,
for the
he's,
will to
yeah,
live. Yeah.
he's probably using that
Mm.
so he's not killing her yet.
Well, when she killed, she thought she killed the Grand Inquisitor herself, and she stabbed him the same way, and he lived. So, she could survive too.
Yep. But still, they brought that Grand Inquisitor back.
Yeah, they brought him back.
So
Oh,
annoying.
I thought he's dead.
Yeah. But we sort of had
It's
the
not-
theory that
Yeah,
he brought
it's not
back.
dead.
So
Yeah, there's a theory that he
It's
would be
like
brought
that-
back, but
yeah.
this Grand Inquisitor isn't the Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah,
that
it's
we
still the
know
same
from
actor.
It's
Rebels.
still
Still the
not the
same
one
actor.
that was in what was it, Rebels? No.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
Rebels, who in Rebels we know the alien race that he is,
Yeah.
and they did a better version of that alien race in Star Wars Episode 3,
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith, and this one he looks more human than Powan.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not the Grand Inquisitor that we know in Rebels. I
Mm.
think they're trying to make him to be, but the voice and everything, it just doesn't fit.
Mm.
Hey, this is what you were saying, right?
Yeah, the flashback. So that was the big sort of
When was it set? Is the question that Jeff had, and I think Jono said, yeah, it's before the events of
before he
episode
lost
2,
his hand, obviously.
because
Yep.
at the time he's still
Yep,
Yeah,
Padawan.
Padawan.
He still had the braid
Mm.
and the little mullet at the back.
Yeah.
yeah, this thing.
Yeah.
So that the haircut, which seems to be the standard Jedi haircut. I don't know.
Jedi Padawan haircut.
Yep, and he still had his hand, so
Hmm.
definitely before episode 2.
But it's sort of, I suppose, in a way, it makes more sense. That line you were saying before about how the last time we met.
I was
Yeah.
but the learner, but
was
now
but
I
the
am the
learner.
master.
Yeah. So even in that instance where he was sort of outsmarted again by Obi Wan, he was still learning. He was still the learner. He still hasn't managed to kind of outmaneuver, Obi Wan.
Yeah, but I think we'll still get a big battle between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader at some point.
There might
Yeah.
be another duel.
Oh,
Like,
next episode. I'm pretty sure it has to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And apparently they're already teasing that there might be a season 2.
Ooh,
Yeah, I saw that.
that's interesting.
So it actually might not end at episode 6 as of yet.
Because it's
Big-
possible season 2 might focus more on Luke's story. This one seems to focus on Leia more, right?
Yeah, and from what Ewan McGregor said in many interviews, like this is probably not the only story we can tell. There's a lot more stories that they could tell as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
It's possible.
I think he really he says he really wants to do season 2.
Yeah. I think it'd be good to have
Ewan McGregor really wants to do Obi-Wan Kenobi season 2.
I think it's worth doing a season 2 to expand on Luke's development a bit more.
Yeah, definitely. But get rid of this Grand Inquisitor.
We're already like up to like the last episode next week. Like how much?
Yeah, it's the last episode.
There's no time to flesh out his story anymore.
The question is
Yeah.
how. Yeah. I mean, they never review what exactly happened, because
That's the
last
point.
time we saw him, he was seemingly killed by Reva.
Hmm.
Oh, that's the.
Although I
But
don't
he
know, like
survived.
being an alien, like
how is he still alive?
you know,
Well,
Uh,
effectively, he's meant to be an alien race, the Powan race.
Oh,
they have a different body and physiology, so you know he's found. You know,
But why did they make him human in this one? He looks more human than Powan.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's already kind of a big. That is not the Grand Inquisitor as in Rebels sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the race that they did use CGI to create in episode 3 from Utapau, because he's from Utapau, that race actually did look more like the Grand Inquisitor than this one.
Yeah.
Let's have a check.
Yeah. I'm sure you've got pictures somewhere. Of the one that's the previous look.
Yeah, it was in the episode as well.
Hmm.
So yeah, I got the screenshot here. Let's.
You can share screenshot of that. Yeah.
Hey, what just happened?
Yeah,
I was about to share.
no,
sorry,
yeah.
because this is exactly what you're saying, right?
That
The
really-
difference between
Oh yeah,
this and this.
but still, the alien race is different. Like he looks human in this one, not from Utapau. Maybe they will show the other race, like the actual.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's clearly a. Yeah,
I mean,
they
this
didn't
one-
really show that race though.
The Disney struggle with adapting animated Star Wars characters to live action hasn't been.
But they did do an adaptation of that race in episode 3.
Episode 3. Oh, you mean the movie?
Yeah, that's my point. They actually did do that race.
Right.
It was first featured in Revenge of the Sith, wasn't it?
Yeah, so if I could share the screen, I could show you that.
Do you have a picture of that from Revenge of the Sith?
There, that was in the movie.
Yeah.
And look at that.
See, they don't look the same.
It looks more like the Grand Inquisitor face than this new face. Like, really?
Like it's a narrower face.
Yeah, it's a narrower face. I know it's CGI and stuff, yes. But they did the race already in live action. This is my point.
Mm.
And they didn't do it with the Obi Wan Kenobi show. They made him just with the human face,
Yeah.
not Powan
Mm.
from Utapau, because that's the race that he was.
Yeah.
So are they still going to claim that this is the Grand Inquisitor from Utapau, or not? Is this the same Grand Inquisitor? Because I still cannot see it.
Mm.
Otherwise, if they do, it's the worst adaptation of all time, since they have done this adaptation of the alien race already.
Hmm. Interesting. I mean, maybe he won't be, because if this gets a season 2, then what we get at the end could be that Grand Inquisitor that we know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Because the
There's-
design, the lines, the face, it matches the Grand Inquisitor
Hmm.
that we know.
Hmm.
Even though this was the adaptation in episode 3.
Hmm. Interesting.
There we go. So, yeah, if you say the Grand Inquisitor, a lot of people will dislike this adaptation of the Grand Inquisitor, me included.
Yeah.
Even the voice doesn't match. It's like so not him.
Oh. Interesting. Inquisitor.
So I'm losing points for this episode for bringing him back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, the Grand Inquisitor.
Mm.
Overall, a solid episode.
Yeah. The rest of the episode was fine. Like I
Yeah.
liked the rest of it. You
Yeah.
know, especially, you know, there's a lot more action in this one with,
Mm,
you know, the fights, and
yeah.
just sort of,
It's a couple
you
of
know,
points for me.
having the backstory fleshed out a bit more,
Mm,
Yep.
for Reva, and seeing more of the scenes from Order 66. So that's, I guess, a plus.
Yep, and finding out more of Reva's character as the
Mm,
youngling.
as the youngling.
mm,
We sort of suspected she may have been, but not sure, not so sure what, you know, how that.
But yeah,
That's
at
him.
least now it's confirmed.
Now it's confirmed, and that she's really out to get Anakin, and was using sort of the Grand Inquisitor kind of role to get as close to him as possible, so she can take revenge.
yeah. So,
Yep, worst twist of all time there. But overall, it did kind of mirror, as they said, episode 5,
Mhm.
Empire.
Which means that next episode will definitely mirror Return of the Jedi.
Mm,
Yeah, it's the same with the similar story elements.
Yeah.
Of course, not exactly the same, but really similar.
very similar.
that's, yeah.
Mm, yeah. So in the end, she and Obi Wan are sort of on the same side.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah.
Yep, but as well, did you hear that little part, or at least with the subtitles, you could see what it actually says.
Mm,
But in the subtitles, as well as if you hear close enough, someone says, "Kenobi, are you listening to me?"
mm.
And it does sound a bit like Qui-Gon.
Mm.
We might see Qui-Gon
Oh,
next
is that-
episode.
That was Qui-Gon Jinn.
I thought that was coming from the communicator, but now that I think of it, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's another voice.
Yeah, it sounded like a different voice
Yeah.
than the one from the communicator, which was
Mm,
Bail Organa,
yeah.
because it did sound like more of like a whisper instead of like the actual voice message.
Yeah. It sounded more faint, like it was more in Obi-Wan's head than
Yep.
an actual sound.
And then when Kenobi heard that, he actually did say like something is wrong.
Mm, like he sensed it.
Yeah. So maybe he can start listening to Qui-Gon.
Mm.
Yeah.
Maybe he's beginning to now hear Qui-Gon's voice.
Yep.
Yeah. So that would be interesting.
Yeah, we might see Liam Neeson.
That'd be
Okay.
good to see him again. Yeah.
Yep, that would be good to see him again. Like everyone is expecting to see him at some point.
I hope so.
Maybe in this
Yeah,
one or in like a season 2 that might be coming.
Yeah.
Because yeah, there's more stories to be told. They can't easily kill off any of the characters because we know where they're going to go.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah. And we see like a closer shot at the end, you know, of Luke. Yeah. So it looks like Bail Organa has just decided to go to Tatooine.
Well, we finally see the 11-year-old Luke.
Yeah. To
This guy,
Yeah,
meet up.
but,
Close up, close up.
but the problem is now is how does Obi Wan get to Tatooine?
Hmm.
Since they said that that transporter ship,
It's
the
gone.
hyperdrive was out.
Mhm.
The hyperdrive's
Oh.
not working.
Yeah.
He'll find a way.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm sure someone will help. Someone will help.
Or,
Or come up with a
the
solution.
or the next episode is going to be longer.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go over some of these.
Could be a movie length episode.
And then we'll do this. Go,
Next week.
move on to Miss Marvel.
Mm.
But considering it does seem like some movie theaters are going to show all 6 episodes
What? really
Oh,
in one
really?
go.
All in one go of Obi Wan
That's
That's a
Kenobi.
long. That's a long one. Like
That's
6
like a
hours.
marathon,
It's
right?
almost what 5 hours.
Well, apparently they quoted at like 5 hours and 30 minutes or so.
Yeah, that's long, man.
That's a long one.
And they said they'll be getting rid of the previews of the start and the end credits for all of them. So
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, just to make it more seamless, I think.
to be more seamless. But if that's the case, even if we combine all of the episodes right now, it doesn't even match 5 hours yet. And that's plus all the credits and the
Mm,
previously ons.
mm.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, the next episode could actually be longer.
Yeah, that then makes sense then.
So the 5 hours 30 could actually be maybe like an hour or an hour.
Yeah, could be over
10
an
or-
hour
Yeah, it could be.
if they want to make like the season finale like a bigger. They want to pack more into that.
Yeah, especially with something like this right now, there's a lot that could happen. So
Yeah.
it would be hard to contain it into like a shorter episode.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, but let's get to the Easter eggs as
Easter
what
eggs. Yeah.
Marcus is at right now.
Okay.
And
Oh.
Attack of the Clones era.
Yeah. So this is the Attack of
Yes.
the Clones, the way they looked in Attack of the Clones.
Mm.
when they were doing
Yeah.
the thing.
Padawan, Darker
That's
Dark,
very much.
Shiny Waistcoats, and also the gray. The well, I think you mentioned this already. This
Yeah, the braid.
the
To the side.
the gray. Yes.
Right, yeah.
So before Attack of the Clones, definitively before Attack of the Clones.
Oh, before. Oh, yes, yes.
To answer
Before
Jeff,
even during,
to
yeah.
answer Jeff's question. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anakin's-
he didn't lose the arm yet.
yes.
I mean his hand yet. Yeah.
Anakin Skywalker is looking out towards Padme.
Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's an older one, is it? No.
Well, he's looking at the tall skyscraper,
Oh.
which may be Padme's apartment building.
They're spying on Padme.
It's bad.
Or it could be just before they went to the apartment.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's looking forward to.
so this is like a
Padme.
lost, deleted scene that we never saw.
Possibly, yeah.
The Star Destroyer,
The Devastator.
the Devastator.
Mm.
Oh. Oh yeah, we saw that in Revenge of the Sith. Yeah.
Yeah, Tim standing right in front of the event horizon.
So, yeah.
Good shot.
The writing, Robesh.
Mm.
And more Star Wars legends are coming in.
Mm.
Yeah. Colin Shelvey, Jin Atlas, all these names in Star Wars Legends canon.
Mm.
Yeah.
So they are actually bringing more into canon now.
Okay, so all these names, I guess.
So all of the older Star Wars Legends books and stories are becoming more canon after Disney decided to chuck them all away in episode 7, 8, and 9.
Mm.
Obi Wan finds Jedi lightsabers and robes.
Yeah, there are a lot of lightsabers, probably from dead
From
Jedi
Jedi.
or Jedi who passed through.
Mm.
Hmm. So,
Alien
I
species.
think someone must have looked at the lightsabers at some
all of
point
the
and
all of-
matched.
yeah, each one.
Yeah.
Someone could probably match them, probably not us.
Not us.
Someone who knows more about the Jedi. Mm.
Oh, this thing, the holo projector
Yeah.
from Bell Organa, the message.
Yeah, that's the
Um,
same sort of communicator they use in like episode 1, as well as all the other ones.
That looks like Qui-Gon Jinn's.
Yeah, Qui-Gon Jinn when showing muscle projection.
Mhm.
This bowcaster.
It's the same weapon that Chewie uses. It's a
Yeah.
bowcaster.
I'm thinking,
Wookiee,
that
Wookiee.
looks so familiar, and it's Chewie's.
Okay, interesting. Younglings.
Yeah, about killing younglings.
Yeah, episode 3, he mentioned killing younglings.
Yeah, we don't see it, but now we see it. But considering at the beginning of the episode this time says that there's some scenes that will be distressing. The first few words, like just before any of the
Oh, yeah.
titles went, it's just like
Like a
there's
trigger.
something, yeah, the warning for scenes that be distressing for some viewers.
Yeah.
Or the killing of the
Yeah.
young kids.
Yeah.
Garrow. Or it's a mention of this planet, Garrow. Rebels, Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah, but another link to Star Wars Rebels.
Lola's restraining bolt.
Yeah, but this time it seems to have controlled Lola,
Mm.
not just disabled him.
Yeah. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
got the capacity to override a unit.
Yeah. They like she
But,
can
yeah.
command the Golda as well. She
Yeah.
can do it remotely.
But once the bolt was taken off,
That was gone. Yeah.
the lights it turned blue
Turned-
again.
Hmm.
Yeah, because the eye of the light was blue, and then when it was controlled, it turned red,
Mm.
and the bolt came off, blue again.
Mm.
It's like a lightsaber,
Mhm.
blue versus red.
Blue versus red. Yeah. The thermal detonator that Tala uses to sacrifice herself were featured in the original trilogy.
Thermal
Return of the
detonator.
Jedi.
Yeah,
Thermal detonator.
Oh, okay.
I guess we'll never find out
Tala.
who is in the suit,
Oh,
that droid suit.
Yeah, we didn't see inside.
Because they think there was probably someone in there. He
Mm.
probably died. Because it does actually look like Tala was connected to that droid in some way.
Yeah.
Probably knew he was in there.
so Anakin borrows a famous Obi Wan Kenobi line. Your weapon's gone, it's over. Obi Wan actually said that to Anakin in episode 3. It's
No,
over.
he said they have the high ground.
Yeah, I have the
On the
high
other side.
ground. But well, I guess the similarity
Not
is
good.
the it's over one, right? It's over. Anakin. Whereas now it's the other way around. Anakin saying to Obi Wan, it's over.
But it's not. Anakin was too proud and didn't notice again. So him saying it's over, it wasn't actually over.
Mhm.
Yeah, it wasn't over because he came out worse again.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's not really over.
But when Obi Wan did say it's over, Anakin, I have the high ground, he was actually correct.
Yeah, and in both cases, Anakin came out worse. So yeah, I guess
It's
still-
not a parallel though.
Yeah. Well, it's a. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Maybe slightly borrowed, but it's not. It tells a different meaning.
Yeah. It's different context.
The Last Jedi's Quake battle. Oh yeah, kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Sort of no contest thing.
Yeah. Because in Last Jedi, like there's also banging down the gate as well
Mm.
to buy time and stuff. Yeah, so there's some similarities there.
Mm.
And the Grand Inquisitor's survival, yeah,
Mm.
because we know he can't die because otherwise he'll
But does
break
it?
canon.
I guess it doesn't break canon, but still, it's not the same Grand Inquisitor.
Mm.
They will keep saying this again and again. They just say like this Grand Inquisitor.
Mm. But this is a pretty cool moment, right? Like Darth Vader pulling down the ship using his force power.
He only did it with one hand.
In one hand only. Apparently, this comes from a video game moment.
Force Unleashed.
Yeah, Force Unleashed video game before Ray. Oh, Ray actually tried the same thing in Rise of Skywalker.
Tried and failed before the ship blew up.
Tried and failed.
Yeah, a lightning bolt came out of her hand and blew up the ship. So, oops.
Well, that's it.
It didn't even mention the Canary "Can you hear me?" sign. Are you listening to me?
Yeah, I'm wondering why it's not mentioned there, because that's quite an interesting line.
Yeah, that was an interesting part.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking that might be Qui-Gon, so that will finally connect.
We'll see what happens in the final episode.
Yeah, a lot to go through, and plus the hyperdrive is down. So how are they going to get to Tatooine or anything?
Yeah, that'll be interesting how they solve that dilemma.
But I guess again, it will mirror episode 6, Return of the Jedi, how like this one does mirror episode 5, Empire, in some way.
Yeah.
Not
I mean,
exactly,
it's definitely darker.
but there are definitely hints there.
And Empire is considered to be the darker movie out of 4, 5, 6.
Yeah. Overall, yeah, it's fairly okay. Shall we get to Captain Miss Marvel?
Miss Marvel, yes.
Or should we score this one first?
Well, I thought we were doing the mashup thing.
What we're doing
Yeah,
first again.
yeah, we'll mash them up again.
I'll do it at the end,
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
So Miss Marvel. Really interesting to see more of the character of Miss Marvel, since they've changed the story from the comics, so the powers are different again.
Yeah.
So it does seem like this time they're looking more at the bangle and the great grandmother.
Yeah, so this is an interesting angle that they're going with, like sort of going back to the history of this bangle, and the first person who had it, which was Aisha.
Yeah, the great grandmother. So that's a different story. So that's an interesting aspect to look into. Maybe to tell more of the story of like the whole split. The whole, what was it again? The
partitions.
Oh yeah, the partition. That was actually a proper thing.
Yeah, so it's major historical event.
1940.
Like after the British had left.
Yeah, the British left, and then India was
1947.
split.
1947.
I was around the time of Gandhi, so yeah, that was one of the kind of most significant sort of historical.
So yeah, from what it said, it split like the two different like religious sort of.
What is the partition?
Yeah, it was quite dramatic.
The British left, and then the partition of India that ensued in August 1947 after the British departed the subcontinent. Yeah, so they rule and created divides between the Hindu and Muslim populations.
Yeah,
that was a Hindu and Muslim.
And then you're left partitioned into 2 states: Hindu majority India and Muslim majority Pakistan.
Yeah.
I think we learned something about history from this episode.
I think that's what Marvel tends to do. Is they.
It was a religious divide more than
Religious divide. Yeah.
Yep, but it's interesting how Marvel gets you to learn a bit of history while we watch new shows.
Just like when Moon Knight was getting us to learn a bit more about Egyptian
mythology.
Yeah.
And a lot of families, lost family members when they were leaving, like they got split up. and some couldn't find. They went missing. Like
Yeah, I think that's what they said. Like every Indian has a partition story.
yeah.
Yeah, and I guess, yeah, obviously her parents would know more about it, and she knows a little bit, but probably, yeah, not as much as her,
And very interesting that about Kamran that actually
Kamran, yeah.
that he is actually related to them. He's actually a member of the family
So
then.
she was just trying to get close.
So
to
she's
her
not
to,
too far off in pretending that he was her cousin. He's
It seems
actually
so.
related. If he is really the son of Aisha,
Yeah.
then
But what is that bangle anyway?
yeah.
People have said that it was quite similar to the 10 rings.
I wonder if it's like the ten rings kind of.
Which kind of makes sense if you look at the end credit scene for the Shang-Chi movie.
Yeah. Yeah, look at this. It's yeah,
Yeah,
secret connection to Shang-Chi and Ten Rings.
that is possible,
Mm.
but it depends on what Marvel wants to tell about the story.
Yeah.
I mean, visually, there's a resemblance. Yeah, for sure.
Mm.
Yeah, but one's Chinese and one seems to be Indian, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe they're trying to
Yeah,
tie it together.
I guess they don't know the language that's on the bangle there.
Yeah.
I think what you were saying before, right? When you said the post-credit scene of Shang-Chi, we saw that the Ten Rings, they are actually very old, like
Mm.
more than 1,000 years.
Mm.
And so, yeah, could be alien.
Could be connected.
Maybe the bracelet could also be alien. I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it could be connected. We just
Could be
don't know.
connected. Could be connected.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this scene like in Shang-Chi.
Yeah, of course. Captain Marvel's in the credits scene.
Mm.
But we'll see how it goes. Because we do know that
Interesting.
Miss Marvel is going to be in the Marvels movies.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So she'll reappear in there. That'll be interesting. She finally gets to be.
Yeah.
Um,
And we do see
Part of it.
more of the Department of Damage Control as well.
mm.
They do seem to find new superheroes. They don't seem to like them. Because this agent seems to say, like, is she trying to kill her instead of save her? Like, really?
Mm.
The new superhero, why do they go immediately to, is she trying to kill you?
Mm.
Or maybe this guy has a grudge.
Mm.
Because considering this is the same agent which went against Spider-Man
Mm.
Mm.
Maybe.
and tried to break him. Because that was also the Department of Damage Control in their way home.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Same agent.
Yeah. Who knows? Hmm. There could be another agenda there that he's got. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he has some sort of grudge.
Hmm. He might even be a secret Hydra agent. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know, but we do know that he came from the Spider-Man movie now.
Hmm. Yeah.
You know that guy Cameron that you just mentioned before?
Cameron.
Yeah. So Cameron, interesting new character there. I wonder what who he really is. He sort of
Well, he's.
You
I
know,
mean, he is from the
Yeah.
comics. Mm.
Oh, he's in the room.
he tries to get close to Kamala straight away. So it's like
Yeah, it does seem
He
so.
was
And
in-
he's sort of like the love interest as well.
yeah, but it seems like he was instructed to get close to her. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Like
Okay.
because like his mom wanted to meet Kamala.
Oh,
Mm.
see.
So in the comics,
Was a way of
interestingly, he looks like this. Come
Oh, it
on.
looks like
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
getting him to meet. So
Yeah.
very interesting.
But again, this is a bit different to the comics, so maybe.
Yeah. Could he be the villain? That's the other question.
Oh.
Yeah.
Of
Could he be
course.
bad?
Yeah, gosh, you will.
We don't know what his agenda is because he's got
He might have powers actually. Yeah.
Plus, we also don't know the mom's
Oh, the mom.
motivation too.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out.
Hmm.
Are they really related?
Like
No.
are they after the bangle? You know,
Oh, the bangle.
that could be
Well, remember how at one point they mentioned Aisha, the
Yep.
great grandmother. So this theory is could
I mean,
could she be
you-
Aisha?
you'd expect her to be much
But
older.
then she's much older. She's obviously the wrong age.
Yeah,
So it's
Yeah.
a bit unlikely, but not impossible.
yeah. Unless
But
you
But
know,
then-
she might not be. You know, she might not age like
Yeah.
that quickly. So
But then who was the woman in the power which she used?
Hmm.
When she used her powers and was shocked into
She saw
That
like the
woman.
woman who she saw in
yeah,
when,
when he was saving the kid. Yeah.
when she was saying the little boy.
Hmm.
So
Who was that?
that
It-
would have been Aisha.
I think that could be more Aisha than this person.
Yeah.
although if this is also Aisha,
I mean,
Yeah.
I suppose she looks quite similar, but like who knows?
Yeah, who is the real Aisha?
Hmm.
yeah. Anyway, that's one of the mysteries for now.
But yeah, we'll see what happens when they actually, start talking about,
Yeah, and
the
And I
bangle.
did, yeah, definitely. And I did find it interesting that they split the Muslim thing
Yeah.
into like little cliques as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
I didn't remember them all, but it was like one was full of like the bros or something, the geeks.
yeah. It's funny that they have their own little groups as well.
Yeah. The
That's social clique.
Illumin aunties.
Yeah, Illumina.
Oh yeah, Illuminati. Yeah.
Similar to the Illuminati.
Yeah.
Who all died? Oh, actually, shouldn't have said that.
Jeff hasn't seen it yet.
And neither Steph, only Steph hasn't seen. But I won't say what you haven't seen.
Which movie are we talking about?
Oh no, nothing.
But it comes out soon on digital.
Okay.
Which one? Doctor Strange? No.
Yeah, actually, it does come out next week.
Yeah,
And
it
less
does.
than a week.
Wow, it's very close now. Yeah,
Next week. Really.
I think it was the 22nd.
22nd. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
not,
Next week.
yeah.
Oh,
So
actually,
next week.
Yeah, 22nd of June. So
next Friday. Maybe.
Very close.
it's actually like a few days.
Mm.
3 days.
So you're
Since
getting the
it's already
steel
19th.
So Wednesday.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's pretty close. Yeah.
Oh,
But the Steelbook comes out in July.
Hmm.
It comes out on digital first, then
mm.
Steelbook.
Mm.
But we could watch it next week, Friday.
Yeah, maybe Friday.
Yeah, let's do Multiverse Friday. It's a shorter movie though, so it's not that long.
2 hours plus.
Doctor Strange, you mean?
It's not your 3-hour thingy.
It's not
No,
as
it's
long
not.
as No Way Home.
Yeah.
Oh, those drones were the same in Far From Home. Yes, I remember now.
Yeah.
There were drones.
Yeah, I do remember those drones.
Yeah, those are the same drones in Far From Home. So the Department of Damage Control must have reused the drones for their own means.
Yeah, they must have a bunch of them.
Oh. What are the Easter eggs? Well, I can't think she has Ant-Man powers.
Okay,
So
yeah.
she tried to
That was a
shrink.
mention.
She tried to shrink and talk to her
She tried.
Funny.
and tried to fly.
That was funny.
Project Captain Marvel.
Captain
joke.
Marvel.
Yeah, because she's using a Captain Marvel cosplay. She doesn't have her own suit yet.
Mhm.
So is she gonna get a suit from who? Someone maybe? Don't know.
Because right now it just looks like she's cosplaying, right?
So
Yeah.
she's just cosplaying of a budget Captain Marvel. I'd agree with that.
I mean, it's a homemade costume that she's made. It's not like someone gave her like a spider suit, like, it
Pretty
wasn't-
much just a fan costume. Really.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like she made it herself at home. It's very
Yeah.
homemade.
So
That's-
it's definitely not the Miss Marvel suit yet.
Yeah.
All right, Cameron. The subplot is straight from the comics number 13 and 14. Blah 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 blah. And then okay. Oh yeah, I mean elements of it are based on comics like the card scene,
Hmm.
the crash. But we'll see what happens. Cameron. Because in the comics, Cameron is a bad guy.
Mm. Well, he may
Oh,
turn
yeah.
out to be the actual villain. So now we sort of have this new character, because I was saying before, I wonder who the villain is, in episode 1, because we didn't know.
Yeah, and
gonna
it
be
doesn't
an
seem like we
actual-
don't have a real villain yet anyway, so
Yeah, this looks like maybe a setup for the villain,
possibly.
which will be revealed in episode 3.
Mm. He's playing a good guy for now.
For now, he seems like a good guy, but we don't know.
Yeah,
Who
we
knows?
know.
And we already know the Department of Damage Control is their own thing, and they're a bit awkward. They do their own thing, but they're not really bad guys. They just do their own thing.
Yeah.
Giant fish.
Yeah, that's part of her comic powers.
Powers in the comics, yes.
Oh, this one.
And Beacon Fist.
Oh,
It
yeah.
doesn't
also,
seem like she could control that.
And also her genetic powers as well.
Oh,
Interestingly, Bruno says powers actually not from a bracelet, but from inside her. So it's like the bracelet is activating something that's already
Triggering.
within her.
So she already had the powers, but the bracelet is
Amplifying it or whatever.
amplifying it. Yeah.
And so this thing about she might actually have inhuman gene.
Mm.
oh, gee.
Yep, as we have seen in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show.
Yeah, Agents of
Mm.
S.H.I.E.L.D., right? But when
And
was she exposed? Oh, yeah, Terrigen Miss.
Okay.
She would have been exposed at some point, right?
No, doesn't seem like she
I-
was.
I don't know. I think it seems more like she's inherited that from.
Can you inherit this gene?
She probably inherited the gene and then the bracelet activated it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like maybe it was Aisha who was exposed.
Hmm.
And then Sana also had that. And that's allowed her to follow the stars, to get to the train on time.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it looks like, yeah.
She could be related to Thor.
Well,
That was a funny scene.
She's hoping to be related to Thor.
perhaps she has an Asgardian gene
Oh,
that's been
the
activated. So she could then be related to Thor.
Well, now that new Asgard is on Earth.
Yeah, that is true, but
We'll see
They're
Thor and
gonna-
Thunder, Love and Thunder.
Oh, yeah.
but considering in this phase, New Asgard has only been around for maybe 6 years.
Yeah. No, it's still too soon though.
Yeah, so there wouldn't be any. She wouldn't be an Asgardian baby, of course.
Yeah.
Heart lights. Oh, okay, it's a comic book term too.
But we do
Islam.
know that New Asgard is in Norway.
No way. Yeah, new Asgard.
Yeah, is in Norway.
No way.
Yeah, well, it's not gonna be in like NYC, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Jersey, which is where she lives. So
So something happening with her nose or the skin. Hot light over the
so
skin.
it begins to show up in
The body transforming into hot light form.
I don't think she knows how to fully control the powers, but I think it happened because her mind was on other things.
yeah.
Like she was thinking of a relationship and then went to the nurse for some reason.
So there apparently was a note to this guy who we saw twice today. Not twice. We did see him in Obi Wan.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Who's in
Yeah.
Obi-Wan as well? No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
Yeah, we just saw him.
In
Yeah.
Obi Wan.
Is it
Remember,
Duke?
he was like the con artist that was pretending to be Jedi,
Oh, yeah.
but he's sort of in a way got roped into being part of
Yep.
Yeah,
Hoth
I've seen it.
now.
So
Okay.
that is the whole Eternals in MCU thing again.
So yeah, when they were discussing Bollywood and they talked about Kingo.
So Kingo is mentioned.
But which
Yeah.
Kingo? Because he's playing many different Kingos. Like he's playing the
Oh,
great grandfather,
true.
he's playing the father,
Yeah.
he's playing Junior. What the heck?
So that was a reference to Eternals.
Yeah, that's the reference to Eternals. Was like he's an old thing, but also a current thing.
So
And
here's
then
the
and then they
Black
said the
Widow.
parents are big fans of Kingo,
yeah, that's right. That's
but
hilarious.
but he still looks the same because he's the new Junior one. Like oh.
superhero pose landing.
Oh
Studio
yeah,
landing.
I remember that when she does that.
Superhero landing. Why the
Oh.
superhero landing?
Which if you remember, Yelena was not impressed.
Same as Deadpool. It's a superhero landing.
Yes. Oh yeah, the same drones from Far From
Yeah.
Home. Yeah. Yeah. So damage control took possession of the drones after Spider-Man's secret identity was revealed to the world.
Hmm.
Not too many. That's it. Yeah.
I really want to see where the Department of Damage Control's part in this will be.
Yeah, they seem to have a slightly bigger role here.
They do tend to be. But we do know the Department of Damage Control has been in the first Spider-Man movie as well as the third one. They didn't appear in the second one.
Yeah.
But it's interesting what their angle is. I mean, they're probably not going to be bad because they're also an agency and stuff, like a proper agency that was set up. But this agent might have a grudge at some point. But we will see. But they're probably not the enemy. They just have their own agenda.
Yeah.
Which does move it to more likely that Cameron is the bad.
Yeah, like I have a feeling, the Department of Damage Control is more just another sort of third party in there, but not necessarily like the big bad.
Yeah, they probably have their own agenda, but yeah, not bad. Overall, interesting episode. And a bit more learning about the culture.
Yeah, understand.
Yeah, even show us scenes in the mosque.
Yeah.
And the divide between the men and the women. Yeah.
Which the best friend is trying to change.
He's trying to change them.
Really convincing though. He went up to the uncle and just says like,
That was funny. Yeah.
I'm like your second sister. I mean, I'm like your second daughter. Kamala's like my best friend. Like, that's so funny. And then the best friend looks at us like, what?
Yeah, that's funny.
Like so confused because his friend is running.
Yeah, that's right.
So now who does he vote for?
Yeah, now he's not, he's confused.
Yeah, he split.
Yeah, interesting. And then also like her friend as well, Bruno, who's possibly going away to Caltech as well.
Yeah, who doesn't seem to want to go now.
But he doesn't seem to want to go because he doesn't really want to leave Jersey. Yeah,
Yep, or even protect Kamala,
yeah.
which he does seem to like Kamala.
He likes her and is also kind of suspicious, maybe, of Kamran.
Probably not suspicious. Just trying to block
Yeah,
Kamala from him
yeah.
because he wants her for himself. So it's like blocking it. So don't let this happen.
Yeah.
Or maybe a bit of jealousy
Could be.
because he could see it happening.
Well, what the love triangle happening?
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be a high school show without a love triangle. Obviously, right?
Yeah.
But this love triangle is a bit too quick. So I think he sees it happening and it's trying to just block it from the start.
Yeah.
Yeah, the white guy, right? Yeah. He's in. But at this point, she likes the Cameron more, is it? You reckon?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
just infatuated, that's all.
As like a love interest infatuation.
Yeah.
And we do know that T was the new kid.
Oh yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. It looks like Pakistani background, is it?
Maybe. I don't know.
Come on.
I haven't seen the actor in anything else, so I don't know.
Yeah, it seems quite.
Yeah, a lot of these actors are quite new, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, even Iman Bolani is quite a new one.
Yeah.
Like
She
He's randomly kind of
I think she was like scattered on TikTok.
yeah.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
So she got the part because of TikTok. Something like that. I forget.
Yeah.
Just scattered on social media. She was a huge fan as well. So really fit the part. It's like she was born to play the role, as what they say continuously. And as a new actress, she does really well.
Yeah, I think she's quite good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she has to basically carry the show.
She practically is Kamala Khan.
Yeah.
Because herself is a huge fangirl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Same thing can't really be said about Haley Steinfeld.
Maybe it's not.
She's not a humongous fangirl, but she played one in
Yeah.
Hawkeye.
Okay. Yeah.
Kate Bishop. Yeah.
I mean, she's a fan of Hawkeye. I mean,
She played a fan.
she played a fan, yes. Whereas this
I mean,
one,
she's a fan of Marvel though. Like she does play Gwen Stacy as well. So she has another Spider-Verse movie coming.
Yeah.
But Spider-Gwen, not the Gwen Stacy that we know in live action.
Yeah. No, different one. Yeah.
It was what was his name?
Emma
Yeah,
Stone?
Emma Stone. Yeah, that's it. Maybe Emma Stone will eventually become Spider-Gwen.
Maybe
be cool
come
with live
back in a
action.
different capacity. Who knows?
Hmm.
I mean, we have, Quicksilver, who's died. Supposedly, Aaron Johnson coming back as Craven the
Aaron
Hunter.
Johnson.
So who knows? Anything can happen. Yeah.
Yep. And we have seen the other Spider-Man in No Way Home. So
And yeah, we saw Toby
maybe,
and Andrew come back. So
Yeah, that's right.
there's
Yeah.
always that possibility.
maybe Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone will be back as Spider-Man as Spider-Gwen.
Hmm. Who knows?
We shall see.
Mm.
And considering that the Vulture is now part of Sony's universe, which by some multiverse mistake
Mm.
was transported from the MCU to the Sonyverse randomly.
Yeah.
Actually, not really a spoiler, but that was in the Morbius movie.
Mm. Yeah, and it makes me wonder whether they'll bring back the X-Men. Like they'll bring the X-Men into this kind of multiverse as well.
That is possible.
And now that these multiverses have come up, and this whole theory allows them to bring in really any character they want into Marvel.
Yep, and since Disney now owns Fox as well, anything can happen.
Yeah.
Plus, the multiverse has exploded, so yes, anything can happen. And Kang the Conqueror is more powerful.
So,
But interestingly, now Quantum Mania is coming out early in 2023, and Miss Marvel is pushed back. I think Miss Marvel was meant to be screened before Quantum Mania, but now Quantum Mania is early 2023. So that,
Swapped it around,
yeah, so that I think would be the next movie after Black Panther 2. The Marvel movie has been pushed back a lot. I have no idea why. Hopefully it's a good movie.
Yeah.
Yep. Should we get to our scores?
Yes, let's get to our scores.
Jeff, what's your score?
Okay. I really like these. I'm gonna give a 9 for the Obi Wan.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah, I just love the flashback and between young Anakin and Obi Wan. Yeah, I cut back a few times to it, and it's just really good reminder that he still has that in his mind. He's still trying to wrestle with the idea of fighting him again, and but this time in a different setting now. Yeah, so good to see what happens, and yeah, he's get also see the what's it, Reina, that
Reva.
Reva, yeah. See her battle too, with Darth Vader, and it looks like she might have another chance. Yeah, yeah, and also glimpses of Luke as well, and of course a little bit as well. So see what happens in the next couple of episodes. Miss Marvel, I'll give a 9 as well. I thought this one was better than the first. I think because it shows a bit more of her character, her special powers, jumping on those extensions and learning how to use them, and yeah, just meeting a new friend. You could say perhaps an enemy in the future. Who knows? But yeah, good to see another character be introduced. And she seems to like him, which is interesting. Because later on it might change, and see what happens. But yeah, find out more, I guess. So double 9s, yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, Steph, Marcus.
I think Star Wars. So for Obi Wan, I'll probably give this a 7. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's a good episode overall. Yeah, and obviously, having that flashback with Obi Wan and Anakin was, the kind of one of the high points, I think, of the episode, and just explores more of their, I guess, their relationship. And how that's still, that there's still, all that unfinished business between them, really, between Anakin and Obi Wan, and just seeing, I guess that the kind of flaws that we know Anakin has, obviously flaws, but we sort of now know much more about like his weakness in his pride, and how that pretty much sort of led him down that dark path. That was even there, already there as early as, I guess, Attack of the Clones, that we started seeing that more. And he still sort of carries the same weakness, really, even up to this point.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I think, and also we sort of saw a bit more of Obi-Wan, that he's he is more of a strategist, because maybe that isn't really something that we kind of was as aware of as part of his character in the other movies. So he's definitely quite clever and outsmarting Anakin. And I like that part of it. I suppose the psychological portion of that, of their relationship, that's kind of brought out. And then of course, learning more about Reva. So that's finally revealed. So that's a 7. And then Miss Marvel, I actually really like this episode more than the first one. So I think this one, I'll give this a higher score. I think the previous episode I scored it 7, but this one I think an 8, because I think this was the more interesting episode and shows more of their culture, and also just the history of of her family, of Kamala's family. So you get more, I guess, of that character's development and history, and just kind of intriguing new character with Cameron and his mother, and to see what their agenda is. Looking forward to episode 3 for that. So this was a fun episode.
Cool. 7 and 8.
Mm.
I think I'll do, for Obi-Wan, I'll probably give it an 8 as well. So I mean, I think just like Jeff, I like the flashback scene. Feels a bit like a lost scene, that we never saw.
Extends it,
it just fleshes it out a little bit more. So so we still get to see them fight, even if it's not the current Obi-Wan fighting Darth Vader. Which I'm pretty sure. I think for sure we are actually setting up. It's trying to set up for that big fight, which I'm pretty sure we'll see in the finale. But I think this episode is sort of like a bit darker as well. Got the the Berserker Order 66. But I mean, who knows what's gonna happen next? But I think it's a good penultimate episode. Because we only have one left. And I think the spotlight here on Reva, we get lots more insight into her motivations and why is it, like, what she's really trying to do
Mm.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to next week's finale, and I think this episode it's done a really good job
Mm.
for setting that up
Setting, yeah.
for the big finale.
Mm.
So
Oh,
yeah, I'll give you an 8. And for Miss Marvel, I think yeah, maybe 8 as well. So to me, it feels like this one is more like a like a teen drama with
Mm.
superhero teen drama
Yeah.
That's
with
not
a
a bad thing.
love triangle. But the unique thing about this is obviously like it's the Pakistani American Muslim sort of background that she has.
Mm.
Just interesting. I think we already mentioned how we actually learn a little bit about that culture and even a bit of the history, like the partition.
Mm.
So educational as well as entertaining.
Yeah.
Ice cream pizza.
Yeah,
Ice cream.
ice cream pizza. But yeah, but there's now a mystery, right? That's been introduced. Like
Yeah.
Aisha. Who's Aisha?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
there's that.
how's that related to Cameron? How's that related to Cameron's mom? So yeah, so I think so far it's been good. I think it makes me wanna watch the next one, which is
Mm.
I mean it leaves us wanting more, which
Which is
is
good.
important.
Yeah, that's good.
So yeah, 8 out of 10.
Both 8, yeah.
That's quite a high score.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Starting off with Star Wars. I really do enjoy this episode. The flashbacks with Anakin really does highlights that they got Hayden Christensen back properly instead of just like a random short scene in like episode 2, which we only see him once without him in the suit. So finally they use him properly, which is good. I know he's in the suit, yes, but it's completely different to actually seeing him. So I actually like that. The battle scene between him and Reva, it just shows that he's completely out the league of the Inquisitors. But the Grand Inquisitor still was probably the biggest down point of the show.
Your big gripe.
He has no weight. He has no feel. He just says some things which, but that actual feel of the presence of the Grand Inquisitor in Rebels, it's so more frightening than this one, which just seemed like he's a lecturer. He sounds like a lecturer. So yeah, this is not the Grand Inquisitor that we know in Rebels. The alien is completely different. The worst representation of the Grand Inquisitor ever. Even if it is meant to be the same Grand Inquisitor. Good job, Obi Wan, for for destroying this episode with that reveal.
Well, it's
Worst
only a
reveal ever.
little moment, right?
But it's probably the worst review ever. Yeah, but overall, it's an okay episode. You do see the parallels with episode 5 quite a bit. And I'm definitely looking forward to the final episode next week. There's a lot that they have to go through. And I didn't think they could fully finish the entire series. So there is most likely going to be a season 2 at some point.
Yeah.
Probably next year or the year after, depending on what their schedule is. But overall, Obi Wan Kenobi is probably one of the better Star Wars live action shows. Since we do get Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen back. Brilliant.
At least we got 2 original actors back.
Yeah.
And will we even get
More
more
lightsaber fights as well, which is nice. More duels. The parallel of Darth Vader to the younger version of Anakin. Brilliantly done.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall, I'd give this episode a 6.
Okay.
Oh wow.
The Grand Inquisitor lost it 2 points for me.
Whoa.
Oh, the Grand Inquisitor.
Just like that. It's a bit unfair, right?
This is not the Grand Inquisitor. And probably one of the worst reveals.
Oh, it's not the Grand Inquisitor. No.
I mean, it is, but as I say, not.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's not.
Although that might change with like season 2. Like my theory is this is not
Yeah,
like,
who knows? They might
Grand
be,
Inquisitor, a Grand Inquisitor, but not the one.
they might be trying to lead you into thinking that it is, but when it's not.
Mm.
And then later
could
on,
be-
you have to
There could be a
revise your
second
score.
twist.
You have to revise your score when they do that. And then you come back and say,
Yeah,
okay.
because in Rebels, they had the background of the Grand Inquisitor as well, because the Grand Inquisitor was actually a Temple Guard. He was actually there when Ahsoka left the Jedi Order as well. The Jedi Temple Guard, which was the Grand Inquisitor, agreed with the position of Ahsoka that the Jedi were stuck in the same loop. They weren't really being protectors of the galaxy, but becoming more soldiers and warriors. And they've even lost their path as well. So they couldn't see what was happening inside the order. So Ahsoka left. But since the Jedi Temple Guard, who was the Grand Inquisitor, was there, he agreed with Ahsoka. But again, he was a Palin from Utapau. Not this version. Because again, we have seen the alien race portrayed in live action properly. And it wasn't this Grand Inquisitor. So a 6. Still a 6. Not changing it for a while. Miss Marvel.
Yes, very good.
Again, it's a really enjoyable show. And again, it's a show which people would connect to because a lot of younger fans, again, are Marvel fans.
Yeah.
And who is Kamala Khan right now? A huge Marvel fan. Who is Iman Vellani? Also a huge Marvel fan. So she fits the role really well. And again, it's kind of realistic in a way to see how that progression is. I'm not sure about the school thing because that's always going to be quite different. But the actual feel of the character is kind of realistic to what the actor would actually feel and how anyone else would feel if they were parts of the whole MCU thing. Again, they said she was daydreaming. A lot of younger fans would also be daydreaming in these like what if scenarios. What if they became superheroes and what that? And this is exactly what this show is giving us.
It's fan fiction, man.
Yeah. What if this fangirl becomes a superhero? That's what everyone wants because they daydream that all the time.
It's fan fiction come to life.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Fanfic.
Even though we're older and we know it doesn't happen in real life, but still, it makes a good show.
Yeah.
It's the what if this, and it's fun, and it's a bit of a breath of fresh air. Like something new, something different. Again, culturally, of course, we don't know the culture too well because we're not Indian or whatever, but still, the representation is still there. And Marvel is doing a lot of the good representation that it's not just bringing them in, it's giving us a bit of history, giving us a bit of story behind it. Like they even mentioned the partition, huge historical event for India.
Yeah.
And they talked about it throughout the episode. And it also shows the effects of what it had on them. So, and interestingly enough, it's one of the events which is more recent within the past 100 years. So it's still prevalent now to the older people from India.
Yeah.
Like what year was it? 1947?
47.
Yeah, less than 100 years. So that's still prevalent for like even the older generation of the Indians. They still have stories of the partition, likely. So that's historically still evidence. They showed it in the episode. Really good representation of the culture.
Yeah.
So overall, I'd give this episode an 8.
Oh, wow.
It's a good episode. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, and yeah, there's a lot more to go through. We still do not know the position of Cameron or the mother.
What he's really after, why is he befriending Kamala? There could be something.
Yeah, but we shall see. And again, we still think that the Department of Damage Control is just like a current third party with their own agenda. So a true enemy hasn't been put on the spotlight yet. Maybe it's Cameron.
Who knows? Yeah.
Actually, Steph's score is exactly
Okay. Same as IGN.
same as IGN. 7 for Obi Wan and 8 for Miss Marvel.
That's pretty.
So
Nice.
yeah, right.
But I do find it funny how like Kamala is like, I tried to shrink in myself and talk to ants. Am I related to Thor? Like, he doesn't want that, really. Like, if they're in the MCU and they're a fan of them, who wouldn't want that? Everyone would want to have that own daydreamer. She's a daydreamer.
Yeah.
But in Marvel, his dreams came true and became Miss Marvel as Kamala Khan.
Yeah.
Practically born to play the part.
Yeah.
Good job.
And yeah, for like, a first time role like this, she's done a great job, I think.
Right.
Definitely. Can't wait to see more.
Yeah.
And is that it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
By the way, does Steph recognize these two people?
Oh, yeah, do you recognize it?
Oh, wait, Lex Luthor.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
Yes, yes, you do.
Yeah.
And so, and obviously Superman, right? Tom Welling.
Tom Welling, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, from what show?
Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbaum. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got to meet them.
Yeah, I
really
know.
cool. Supernova.
For the first time, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, they did a panel together as well.
Oh, okay. So that's cool that they were able to make it to Supernova. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. From Smallville. I remember that show.
Oh, yeah, 10 years.
Smallville.
Went for 10 years.
Yeah, they had an anniversary, I think this year, didn't they? So they would have done some Comic-Con appearances as well.
They were both from Smallville, were they?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Michael Rosenbaum played Lex Luthor, Tom Welling as Clark Kent Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Really good show. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was quite good. Like the early kind of farm life, that you sort of don't really get to see much of in the movies.
Yeah, and it was Clark Kent as not Superman yet.
Just as a
A young one. Yeah.
You get to see more of the Clark Kent.
yeah, Clark, not really Superman. Yes,
Mm.
that's right. Yeah. All right, I think it's 1 o'clock. So
Probably call it 9.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Next week. Next week's still double episode, right? Next week. Yeah.
next
Yeah,
week is
next
still double.
yeah, next week is still double episode,
One
but
more
we'll
double.
see how long the last episode is.
Could be
Oh, yeah.
slightly longer than.
It could be slightly longer, so we
Obi Wan. Yeah.
may or may not start a bit earlier, maybe.
We'll see. We'll see once we
Let's
get
see, yeah.
the details.
But we will shall see.
Mm.
And it
Yeah.
does also look like for our channel, it has actually increased quite a lot.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Ah,
We got 280 something, I think.
Yeah, it's got-
288 now, which if you remember during New Year's, we
It
were
was
hoping
less
for
than
100.
100.
We were
Less than
hoping
100.
for like just
99.
to get 100 by then.
So we triple, not triple. Oh yeah, we did
Nearly triple. then.
triple.
We
nearly,
nearly
yeah.
tripled
Nearly.
in half a year.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Which
Yeah,
we-
so it's now June. We went from about like 99, 100 to 288.
And
Yeah.
and I think
what happened?
yeah, I think Jeff should hit 1,000 soon. Maybe in a month. I think. Yeah.
Maybe.
Mm.
We'll see how it goes. Yeah, on my other one. Yeah. That should be good. Also next Friday we might watch Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind if you don't have anything on you.
I might be going to see Elvis, so
Oh yeah.
not sure. Yeah.
Elvis is coming out next week.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why we'll just see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I'll probably be going back to doing my own video reviews soon, since my place is practically nearly set up. So
Oh, yeah.
I'll be back to doing video reviews after about 2 months of nothing.
Oh yeah, because you're moving place. Yeah.
Yep. So my subscriber count has not risen.
Okay, cool.
It's also going to be my own content, not like other random stuff.
Sure. We'll see how it goes for next Friday night. Maybe like Jono could zoom it, and then Marcus will join us later when we
Yeah.
did a review or something.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
because we haven't done a proper Doctor
Yeah,
Strange
both of
review
them.
yet.
So it'd be good to get everyone
Yeah.
to review. Okay, that's an idea. We'll see how it goes.
Or even the Top Gun one. We haven't even done that.
Okay. But
Yeah.
that one isn't available on digital yet. So
Yeah, not yet.
it's still
Not-
showing. So
Not in a while.
not in a while.
Yeah, let's just
Yeah.
do the Doctor Strange one first. And
It's
then
Friday.
from there.
It's coming Friday if we can. Yeah, if we can. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Good to see everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to see you guys.
Yeah. Good to see Steph and Marcus.
See you guys next time.
All right.
Yeah.
Guys.
Good night, yeah. Good night.